Hey everybody, Sean here with my good friend Steve. Welcome back to another edition of After the Movie. Currently in the theater parking lot. We just got done watching Undertone, and we're here to give our thoughts on it. So, Undertone, the new A24 horror film, the scariest film you will ever hear, was kind of one of the big taglines for it. Anytime one of these new horror movies comes out, they try and have like, it's the scariest thing ever, blah, 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 blah. I guess it depends on your own preference of what you find scary, because there's some movies where people will be like, that's so terrifying, then I'll watch it, nothing. Or there'll be something I'm like, that was actually pretty unsettling, but then someone's like, that was just so stupid. So it's based on the viewer, but I don't know any of the actors. I don't know the director behind this thing. This is a thing. Very low budget, and basically the concept is it's a girl who is running a podcast with some guy off screen. We never see any other characters outside of this girl and her mom and maybe something else.
Maybe something
else. But basically she does a podcast. Her mom is in hospice. That actress had the easiest job in the world.
She just had to lay there.
Just had to lay there and go.
Yeah.
If I had a job that just paid me, I mean, this is a low budget one. I think it was I looked it up, it was like $500,000, but it's pretty much set in one location. And basically these two, her and the guy off screen, they run a podcast together, and they're sent a random email with 10 audio files. And as they kind of listen to more in them, crazy stuff starts going on in the house, and you have the whole mother and hospice thing, and maybe some supernatural things, and the audio files are starting to kind of almost go from just audio files to like almost messing with the real world in a way, and demonic in a sense, yes, and just playing around with that concept. So, what did you think of it overall?
Well, it's definitely an interesting watch. I thought there were some really tense moments. I thought camera work was pretty good for the most part. Those odd shots that work well in tense moments. I thought there was a decent amount of that. Bit slow in the beginning. I felt,
it definitely is a slow burn kind of movie. It's a good 90 minutes. Honestly, the previews before the movie, I felt like were almost longer than the movie. Yeah. It was like 25, 30 minutes of previews.
Oh, it was pretty wild. And, it follows that, like, there's these audio recordings, and, like, each one gets, like, more crazy. It's just like how, like, a normal horror movie, like, the further it progresses, the more batshit crazy stuff happens. You know what I'm saying?
And they also kind of play around with the concept of, you say you get like a random bit of gibberish, but somebody else hears something else compared to somebody.
And then you slow it down, put it in reverse, increase the volume, and then
you're almost starting to hear, like, your mind's starting to hear things that aren't necessarily there. It's kind of playing with your mind, and they toy around with that concept a little bit, but there's clearly something supernatural or supranatural, as in, since we're dealing with demonic stuff. It's like a whole other level above supernatural with this thing. So this is a low budget movie, and it's shot all in one location, and they make the most of it. I like that there's some shots too where it kind of dwells on the backgrounds, and you're not sure if something's there or not. So if you're somebody who likes something where you kind of use your imagination a little bit, utilizing the sound design is great in this thing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
The sound design is without that sound design, it wouldn't work as well as it does. But you'll hear a sound, and the camera will shift, and it'll kind of focus on, say, the one girl talking on the podcast, but then you have another section that's basically blocked off in kind of the shadows, and it's like it's kind of similar to when your eyes are adjusting in the dark, and you're kind of making things out a little bit, so you're not sure if something's really going on there or if your mind is imagining things there. So I thought there's a lot of sequences like that where it's pretty effective, but then there's sometimes where you may catch something. For instance, where the camera kind of tilts around and you look very closely in the background, you'll see something kind of shift, and you're thinking, ooh, what's going to happen? What's going to come of this? So it kind of plays around with that a little bit. I think those are some of the most effective portions of the movie. Performance-wise, the lead actress did, I think...
She's fine.
She did pretty good for the role she was given.
Had to carry a movie.
Pretty much all by herself.
90 minutes.
That's not easy to do, just kind of doing the whole podcasting, and also trying to find visually interesting ways to shoot it when you're stuck in one location for the entire movie. It gets a little weird, and I will say that the third act is kind of, towards the ending, is a little underwhelming. I kind of wanted a little bit more, because you're kind of just sitting there thinking, is this all we're doing with this? Or we're just... I felt like it didn't know how to end.
Yeah, I thought the overall climax up until the last maybe minute and a half, I thought was decent. And then, you know, I don't really know if you want to get into spoilers or not, but you know, the last like minute, it's just kind of, it's just like, oh, like you wanted to see more and like kind of understand what's happening, but
right,
sometimes it's kind of left up to the imagination, right?
Right, and a lot of this movie is left up to that. It uses sound and just kind of lets it play with your own mind and imagine
that's
things.
like kind of the overall concept of the movie anyway, is to like, because you know, these two people are recording a podcast, and a lot of the movie they are doing like the recording, listening to the clips, and the audio is kind of portrayed in a way where you're wearing like noise canceling headphones.
Right, so everything else is cut off, but in a way it's almost kind of leaping out of the podcast into like her surroundings around her as well.
Exactly.
So that was pretty effective and interesting. Yeah. They'll do things too where the camera will move around and you hear the audio. It's kind of like a radio drama is the best way I'd kind of describe it.
Yeah.
Because I used to listen to some of those when I was younger, like The Shadow, for instance. So you have the actors performing the whole thing and adding the sound effects and all that. But the camera will move. It's almost like ghosts are kind of enacting something out like that you can't see on another plane, but the camera's kind of simulating as if something were happening, utilizing the audio that's there. So I thought moments like that were pretty effective. But yeah, I think too, is there any like leap out of your like crap your pants scary moments in this thing? I didn't quite think that far. There's a few creepy moments in there for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like anything like super terrifying or anything, but just, you know, the way that the camera angles are and the sound and like the surroundings in the background, like, you know, there's a couple instances where like you see like a figure in the background and like you assume it's the mother, but like you don't really know what it is because it's not in focus.
Right.
So
and sometimes you're wondering, is she going to get out of that bed? Is she going to do something?
Yeah.
Because you just see her kind of just making noises,
breathing
and then maybe she'll walk past and perhaps she'll do like one of those sit up and then just go back down to in her hospice thing. Is she alive? Is there something demonic going on there?
Yeah.
That is the real question. Was this all in the girl's head too?
Who knows?
Who knows? It's one of those movies.
They mentioned schizophrenia in the movie, and it's like, well, you know, I was thinking during watching it, maybe that's kind of the angle we're going down, but then, you know, as stuff happens, you know, you're just like, I'm not really sure what's going on, so it's kind of left up to the imagination, which I can appreciate for a movie like this.
Right. There's no big gigantic. Maybe there's like one or two jump scares, but they're not really.
It's
that
like
much.
like a audio distortion when they're recording or something got me pretty good. You know, it's just not something you're expecting. And there's one more that I'm blanking on, but
yeah. So I wouldn't say it's like you know, it's not half bad actually. There's some effective stuff in there. It's not going to be a masterpiece or anything like that, at least for my personal tastes, but I'm glad I saw it once, and I don't know if I like put it back on anytime soon, but it's kind of a one and done sort of movie for me, but not a bad one, all things considered. There's some, for the low budget that they had, I think they did a pretty good job. I just think the ending kind of kills some of that momentum because it's a little underwhelming. As Steve said, you're left kind of wanting a bit more. But then again, you're wondering, how do you end a thing like this? Especially I think if they had a little bit more money, they could have done something a little bit more elaborate. But with the limited resources they had, I thought they crafted something, you know, pretty good for the most part. There are moments where they set up the suspense where I felt like if they kind of added a little bit more flair in certain sequences, it could have really worked, because you really feel the tension building, but then there's no payoff in some bits where, for instance, where the camera kind of moves and you have the focus in the background. Now, a lot of that's left up to the imagination, but I felt like for certain instances, they could have added something in there to really amp the scares up just a little bit more, but that's my own personal preference. Perhaps somebody who likes just kind of imagining a lot of the stuff, utilizing the sound, and sometimes the images in our mind are scarier than anything that can come up on screen, and if you're looking for something like that, then you'll probably enjoy this one a little bit more. So
I can definitely appreciate them not like really showing you what's going on. You know, it's kind of similar to like Blair Witch, right? Where, like, you don't really see what's going on, but like
until you get to Blair Witch 2 and 3.
Well, we're not going to talk about those, but you know, and then like, because you know something's there, you know something's happening, but it's again left up to your imagination. I feel like that makes it more tense in the moment when you're watching it. And I don't know, that's just something that I appreciate about Blair Witch that kind of you can see in this movie too.
Right, you can same budget, $500,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Although Blair Witch's $500,000 is worth a lot more than the $500,000.
Yeah, better marketing.
Right. But again, it's a low budget, effective horror film for the most part. Some decent like creep factors to it, an underwhelming ending. But I don't know if this is a first time director or something, but if this is a first time director, I thought they did pretty good. Yeah. There's one moment that felt like the director took a little Evil Dead with the camera angles.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Where it's moving down the stairs, I'm like, that's a Raimi camera shot. You just know it's a Raimi shot. But which the last movie we saw together was a Sam Raimi movie, so
it was.
I mean, pretty much everything I feel like I've seen for the most part this year, unless I missed something, is pretty much all just R-rated stuff. Mm-hmm. Did I not? I'm drawing a blank on some of the other things I've seen. I feel like I've only seen R-rated movies. I have to go back and check again, because like, what was the last thing I think of? The last thing I saw was Scream 7.
That's
R. Send Help R. I'm pretty much only seeing R-rated movies, it seems.
Yeah.
I have to, like I said, I have to kind of go back and look. I'm drawing a blank on some of the other things this year, but that was something. That was something
for sure.
So, but you have any other final thoughts on it?
I mean, I think it's worth a watch.
You can watch it at home with the lights off. Probably might be more effective than sometimes in the theater.
Maybe, but like just with the sound, I feel like watching it in the theater would be
pretty effective
better.
too,
unless you have a good like sound bar or something at home. But yeah, definitely watching it in the dark would be more effective. I'm thinking of replacing my noise canceling headphones now because of this movie.
That's something too. I mean, my headphones I have. Let me see if I got them right here. Are they back in here? Yeah, I mean, these things are like dinosaur headphones at this point. But like my Beats, I usually keep one in, and because I mean the battery is kind of shot on these for the most part. I'm still getting like several years worth of usage out of them. I usually just keep one and not the other, because with the whole noise canceling thing, it's good to have one ear in this world and one ear immersed.
Oh yeah, it's weird because I've definitely like been in my basement, in the dark with my headphones on, and then creepy-ish feelings, like obviously nothing's happening, but this movie just kind of amplifies it because she's listening to the recordings, but like it kind of sounds like there's sound coming from the house too. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of weird reality stuff going on, and I thought it was actually decent overall.
Right, yeah, there's definitely like a creep factor to it, so it's tricky sometimes because you feel it, but I felt like it could have gone a little bit more in certain instances, like really up the intensity. But again, I'm not sure, given their limitations, they were able to do something like that. But for what they did, I think they did a pretty decent job. So
yeah, and I hate to even say this, but I feel like this movie doesn't have a whole lot of rewatch value.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think it'd be as good the second time.
Right. It's one of those, because you're discovering the mystery along with them. Yeah. Sometimes with mystery movies, that's the thing. Once you kind of discover the mystery, it's hard to go back and watch it like the second time and be as effective. Whereas some movies are, say, like an action, or if it's just meant to like be a scary horror film or something.
Yeah. Like if anything, maybe like watch it again to see if we can notice anything else in the background.
Right.
That's really it though, because I don't know. It just doesn't have a big rewatch value in my opinion.
It's kind of like I said, it's more of a one and done movie, or maybe watch it a few years from now. Just like, I remember that kind of.
I forgot everything about this. Let's watch it again.
Right. So, but not much else to add. If you've seen Undertone, what did you think of it? Post your comments down below. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Got more stuff along the way. A few upcoming after the movies, I'm sure. I got to check out that Project Hail Mary movie, which you've read the book, so...
Yeah, I've listened to the audiobook a few times, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about it, so I'm going in with high expectations.
Right.
And
I have no expectations. I haven't read the book. I've only seen some ads for the movie, but Phil Lord and Chris Miller are really good filmmakers. Mm-hmm. They made the Lego movie, the Jump Street movies.
Yep.
So they got fired from Solo and replaced by Ron Howard. Because they probably wanted to make a good Star Wars movie, and they were told no.
Yeah, probably for the best. That's okay.
So good on them. Go make something good, which I'm sure they probably did. But yeah, Lord and Miller are pretty talented. But so that's that. And then I think Ready or Not 2 is out. I finally watched that first movie all the way through yesterday, and it actually wasn't half bad. It was kind of fun. So we'll see what the sequel does. But more stuff along the way in other videos. And Steve will hopefully join for a few after the movies, or maybe some other projects this year. So, but anyways, thanks so much for watching. see you all later. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure as always.
Fantastic. And peace out.